Hi guys, it's gsnmon.com and I'm here with the HTC One Mini for a full review of the handset. So we're dealing here with a phone that comes after the HTC One, and it's a smaller version of that handset. We already reviewed the HTC One and the Galaxy S4 Mini, the biggest rival that this model has. This product was announced back in July, launched in August, so it's pretty fresh. The price tag is about $580, at least on Amazon. Okay, now let's get to the design. As you can see, we're dealing with a smaller HTC One with extra plastic on the edges. There's the extra layer of plastic that you can see all around the edges area. The front speakers also seem a tiny bit smaller than the ones on the HTC One. This model measures 9.3mm in thickness. It weighs 122 grams and it has an aluminum back case. As you can see, we've got volume metal buttons that sometimes are a bit hard to press. They're not very highlighted and very protruding from the design, but at least they're separate. They're not one common button. Okay, so volume button is right here. We've got the on-off button right here that this time is not an infrared emitter. I have to remind you that on the HTC One the on-off button was also an infrared emitter. At the bottom we have a microphone hole and the micro USB port. At the top we have the on-off button and the audio jack. Up front we got this front camera right here and a bunch of sensors here. We got capacitive buttons near the HTC logo. We got the home button, we got the back button, and that's pretty much it on the front side. On the back side we got the camera plus flash, only this time the camera and flash are placed in a line, as you can see, while on the HTC One the flash was placed on the side. The phone is slightly curved, as you can notice, so it can sit better in the user's palm. And speaking of sitting better in the user's palm, you can actually use it very well and reach all the areas of the screen that matter with a single hand, and you won't feel like anything is missing on this device. So one-hand use is very easy on the HTC One Mini. We have a notification LED right here integrated in the top speaker, which is pretty cool that they hid it there. And this is a handset that's very nice to use. I personally consider that the plastic edges are not a nice touch, they decrease the appeal, but the advantage of having plastic on the sides is that it won't get as used as metal, it won't get scratched as easy as the aluminum. So that's about it as far as the design goes. Moving on to the hardware specifications, well, inside this handset we can find the Snapdragon 400 processor. This one is a dual-core CPU with a frequency of 1.4 GHz. As I said, this model will rival the Samsung Galaxy S4 Mini, and they share the Snapdragon 400 CPU, but what they don't share is the frequency. While this model has a 1.4 GHz frequency, the S4 Mini has a 1.7 GHz frequency. Inside this phone we find the Adreno 305 GPU, and the display is a 4.3-incher Super LCD2 with a 720p resolution and Gorilla Glass 3 protection, 342 ppi. Inside the handset we can find 16 GB of storage, 1 GB of RAM. There is no micro SD card slot. We have a micro SIM card slot on this device. It's placed right here, and you can use a special HTC metal key to open it. So once again, micro SIM card slot on this device. We got Beats Audio, as in scripted right here, and we have these beautiful stereo speakers with boom sound amplifiers, and the camera at the back is a 4-megapixel unit with Ultrapixel technology, LED flash. At the front 1.6-megapixel camera, and on the connectivity side we get quad band GSM, GPRS Edge, 4G LTE, Wi-Fi, DLNA, HSPA+, GPS, GLONASS and Bluetooth 4.0. We've got active noise cancelling, by the way, and aside from active noise cancelling we also get an accelerometer, proximity sensor, compass, FM radio, plus the battery inside the phone. That's a lithium polymer unit with a capacity of 1800 mAh. Now I'm going to talk a bit about said battery. It offers 500 hours of standby functioning on paper and 20 hours of 2G talk. We also have some screenshots regarding the battery. Here you can see some of the usage of the battery. In our tests, the device was good enough to offer 7 hours of video playback with YouTube and Wi-Fi on and the brightness at 50%, it can barely reach a day. That's the performance of the battery on this device, barely reaches a day. It's a pretty weak battery, but at least you can use some power saving mode. Okay, here's the power area. Here you can optimize battery life with the power saving. As you can see, the screen goes dim immediately. You can view your battery usage details here, show some of the history of the usage, show battery level, sleep mode, and also start up and shut down quickly. It's interesting that the fast boot is in the power section. It means that the fast boot actually uses up a lot of battery. Okay, so once again, the HTC One Mini can barely reach 1 day of usage, and it can give you 7 hours of YouTube video playback. By the way, if you charge the phone from 0 to 100%, it takes about 2 hours to get a full charge from this phone, which is pretty decent considering the capacity of the battery. Now let's talk a bit about the audio on the HTC One Mini, and for that I'm going to use SoundCloud in order to avoid any kind of copyright breach. So let's look for an artist and let's listen to a tune. I must say that the volume on this handset is amazing. So let's turn it all the way up. First, this is 50% of the volume. Speakers here and here. And now let's turn up the volume. Okay, so you get the idea. We have excellent volume, huge volume I could say, very close to the experience of the HTC One, so you're not missing anything on the audio side. We have very good bass. And let's talk about the headphones just a bit. You probably know their design from the HTC 8X, HTC 8S and the HTC One. This design that I like to call a pasta, that's a pasta-like texture. It's not a normal wire, it's a flat one, so it won't tangle as easy as other headphones. They sit well in the user's ear, they're comfortable, they're loud, they're clear, and what lacks from this handset is an equalizer. However, we do have Beats Audio for a bit of enhancement on the side of the bass especially. So we got Beats Audio that you can set on or off, and once again no equalizer whatsoever. We got this boom sound technology that amplifies the sound in a huge way if you ask me, and we also have a bunch of apps related to the media experience, the audio experience. So we have FM radio, connected the headphones, FM is been turned on. And with the FM radio you have a loudspeaker option. You can play the radio on the loudspeaker if you want. It's a radio with RDS, you can favorite stations, and you can even use the SoundHound integration to recognize the songs that are being played on the radio right now, which is a pretty cool feature. Okay, let's go back. Aside from the FM radio experience, we also have some other apps that are related to the acoustics. We have music, obviously, standard on the phone. We have play music, and we've got tune-in radio. If you're not happy with FM radio, you have online radio. And then there is the app I mentioned, SoundHound. It's a rival for Shazam, and it can recognize songs simply by playing them near the handset. You can also say the name of an artist and it will look it up for you. And then there's 7 Digital, which is basically a store for purchasing tunes. So these are all the apps and features related to the audio experience on the device. I was really happy with the audio. We have very good bass, very good volume, as you heard. So the acoustic experience is excellent on this handset, and nothing is missing compared to the HTC One. The One and the One Mini are the loudest handsets on the market right now. Remember that, and there's no distortion. It's a 10 out of 10 experience for these handsets. Let's talk a bit about the video. For that, I'm going to go to the gallery and in the movies section and turn down the sound a bit, and let's watch a little video. This is a Full HD MP4 file, and the screen is a 4.3 inch 720p Super LCD2, pixel density of 342 ppi. We have accurate colors, good viewing angles, so you're not missing any of the action even if you're at a wide angle compared to the screen. The white balance is warmer than on the HTC One, for example. The screen is very bright and the contrast is excellent. Still, the screen will reflect the sun quite a bit. It's hard to read text on this screen in full sunlight. The Galaxy S4 Mini is better when it comes to reflectivity, but not better when it comes to the brightness level. We also have tests to support that. Here we go. This is the screen of this handset that was seen through a microscope on white and on black. And you have to know that the screen of the HTC One Mini achieves 390 lux units. It's below HTC One but above the Galaxy S4 and Galaxy S4 Mini. The pixels are of the RGB stripe kind, in case you're wondering. Okay, so overall this screen is above the Galaxy S4 Mini that achieves 215 lux units, and the video player that you saw earlier also comes with Beats audio enhancement. Now it's time to talk about the camera, the all-important camera. A bit of lag just happened. I'm going to use this castle, take a quick picture. Very fast shutter, as you can see. Some zoom going on. And now the technical details. This is a 4 megapixel ultrapixel sensor camera. The sensor size is 1/3 of an inch. This camera offers bigger pixels than other cameras on handsets. This means better low light performance, and the lens used here is an f2.0 lens. And now I'm playing with some effects when I'm talking about the technical specifications of the camera. There's no optical stabilization, sadly. The HTC One had it, but this model doesn't, so that's a bummer. But after all, it's a mini version, smaller version of that. Well, the camera UI, let's analyze it. We have the flash options here in the upper left corner. Then comes the Zoe option that I'll detail a bit later. And then we have the effects that you saw earlier, a lot of them, vignette, all sorts of cookie effects, color effects, some warmer, some colder. And moving past these effects, you can also focus by tapping the screen, obviously. And then we move to the huge amount of options that we have here. We have scenes that include normal, portrait, landscape, backlight, text, macro, night, and HDR. It's interesting to see that we have a text option, so if you want to take pictures of text, it's okay. Sweep panorama, anti-shake. You also have scenes for video capture, normal, slow motion, fast HD in 60 frames per second, and video HDR. We got a self timer, a crop that you can set to wide, regular, or square, video quality going up to full HD, ISO going up to 1600. Then there's the white balance with a lot of options, continuous shooting, once again with options, face detection, geotagging, some shutter options, lock focus in video, and that's about it. So a lot of options to play with. Okay, so as I said, white balance, continuous shooting, and now it's time to analyze some of the samples that we took on this device. I'm going to put the castle aside and let's enjoy those samples. We got the gallery area, and you can either see the shots in bulk like I'm showing them here, or you can choose to see them as events depending on the day they were shot. And as you can see, we can see their preview, at least for the movie here. I'm going to choose these ones from September 1st, excuse me. And let's see some of the shots taken that day. Once again, 4 megapixel ultrapixel camera. This is a panorama, as you can see, very well done. We got good color reproduction, good brightness, and when you zoom in the daytime shots, you'll see that the noise is easy to find, just like on the HTC One. The night shots are good, but the day shots, they're pretty much the same as the other cameras out there. We also can show you some night pictures and videos, not a lot of them, but still decent enough. Okay, so this is a picture taken at night. I have to say it's pretty decent, in spite of the fact that the light sources tend to distract all the other scenery. This is a picture that was easily moved, and this is a video caught at night. Let's start it from the beginning. It's taken at 9 PM, and you can see that the HTC One Mini does a fine job even with zooming in at night. By the way, this video and the previous pictures were taken in the night mode. An aspect I must mention is that this camera tends to lose focus a bit when you film. You'll see that in a few videos. This is a close-up of a flower. Among the options, you'll also see that you have macro. Do not take pictures with the sun in front of you unless you want to see such light halos. And here's a picture where we can actually zoom in. I must say that you won't lose a lot of quality when you zoom in videos, which is a cool thing. This was also an aspect we praised on the HTC One, the fact that you don't lose quality when you zoom in. We have autofocus, geotagging, face detection, and by the way, the front camera can film in 720p. Okay, now let's talk just a little bit about Zoe. I'm sure you want to talk about that. Okay, so what Zoe does, let's see. Zoe is signaled by this little camera here, and when you press it, and then you press the shutter, you'll see that it's loading, it's filling with red. The idea is that you can take 3.6 seconds of HD video and 20 pictures at the same time at 6 frames per second. That's what Zoe does. And the photo and video capture will start with 0.6 seconds ahead of you pressing this button. So that's what Zoe does. It collects video and photos together in a quick collage. And by the way, then Zoe will gather up all the pictures in a certain event and create a preview. For example, you can see here I've taken 62 pictures and videos, a lot of stuff, and Zoe has made a preview for me at the top of the screen. That preview will have various themes. This theme is called Vega. You can choose these modes and songs. So let's try one called Gotham. It's darker, obviously, the name Gotham. All the scenery becomes creepy, and so does the music. And Zoe is powered by the Image Chip 2 technology, by the way. You can also choose a song, choose the pictures that go in this collage. Zoe is also able to detect faces and allows you to choose only the frame with a smile. Considering that Zoe creates 20 pictures at the same time, it's easy to figure out that you can choose only the picture with the smile of a person, which is pretty cool. Okay, so we're done with Zoe, a feature we'll also liked a lot on the HTC One. And by the way, if you want to edit photos, you just have to press edit. There will be a lot of options. We got some effects to play with. Filters that would make Instagram pale. Auto enhancing, a couple of frames, wooden, grunge, some retouching, lighting, face contour, eye enhancer. Of course, these are for faces, and let me tell you, they actually work. We can also crop, straighten, flip, and basically you can do a bit of Photoshop while on the go, if I can exaggerate a bit. And I must also say that this camera is able to do HDR video in 28 frames per second, not 30, and you can also do 720p video in 60 frames per second. The continuous autofocus has the option lock focus that you saw earlier, so if you don't like constantly focusing, you can switch that off. And by the way, the result that you saw earlier, all those videos, those are MP4 files with a bitrate of 20 megabytes per second. As far as the sound capture goes, while you're filming a video, well, this handset is able to record with 192 kilobytes per second bitrate and a 48 kilohertz sampling rate. So just like the HTC One was a very good tool for recording concerts, this one also is. Overall, the camera on the HTC One Mini is way better than the one on the Galaxy S4 Mini and better than the one on the Galaxy S3 if you want a comparison. Obviously, it's not better than the one on the HTC One and the one on the Galaxy S4. We're done with the media section. We're going to talk software, and now let me show you what we're dealing with here. Here we go. We're running Android 4.2.2 Jelly Bean with HTC Sense 5.0, and now let's talk a bit about the benchmarks yet again in the gallery. This time we're going to organize everything in albums, head to the screenshots, and as you probably figured out, I decided to compare the HTC One Mini with the Galaxy S4 Mini. They share the same CPU, Snapdragon 400 dual core, only this handset has a 1.4 GHz frequency and the Galaxy S4 Mini has a 1.7 GHz frequency. So first of all, in quadrant, the One Mini scores 6,186 points. It gets beaten by the S4 Mini with 7,100 points. We move further. In Antutu, 11,000 points, we totally beat the S4 Mini and it's 4,300 points, although that score is so low it makes me think of a bug. Nena Mark II, 57 frames per second, got beaten by the S4 Mini and is 60 frames per second. However, that model has a QHD screen and it can gain some frames in that area. In Velamo, once again we beat it. 2,200 points on the One Mini and 911 points on the S4 Mini, yet another bug if you ask me. In 3D Marks the results are more clear, we get 4,900 points, got beaten by the S4 Mini with quite a lot, 5,700 points. Finally, Browser Mark, close scores, 2,179 on this model, 2,345 on the S4 Mini. Overall, it may sound like the S4 Mini is winning the battle, but none of the handsets face lag, especially this model. I can't remember the HTC One Mini ever getting stuck or having problems with lag. Okay, now it's time to do some web browsing. And this is the virtual keyboard. Not the most comfortable keyboard if you ask me, but I'm very picky about keyboards, so okay, this is the web browsing experience. The web browser is reasonably fast, also confirmed by the Browser Mark 2.0 benchmark, our website in landscape. This is how you alternate between tabs, and a lot of settings to play with. You can also enable Flash Player, some general settings here, privacy and security, so a lot of stuff to play with in the web browser. By the way, we also did a temperature check of this handset. Since we used a microscope on its screen, we also used a thermometer on its backside. Okay, so the temperature can reach 35 degrees, 35.9 degrees Celsius in the center of the back of the phone after 10 minutes of YouTube Full HD playback. And if you play Crazy Taxi or another game for 15 minutes, you'll reach 35.3 degrees Celsius, which is okay for aluminum. Once again, this handset doesn't suffer from lag, in case you're wondering. Now, as far as the interface is concerned, we're dealing here with HTC Sense 5.0. It's a minimalistic interface. It involves colors such as gray, black. It's a sober interface, a more serious approach from HTC. And now let's check out the widgets area. So these are the widgets that are offered here. Of course, there are custom widgets aside from the Google ones. You can see we got a ton of them. You can also add more screen panels, so we're playing with about 5 of them here. You can see widgets for the weather, for various social networking apps and all that. Back to the section of the settings, you can find an option called Personalize. Here you can change your wallpaper. With HTC Wallpapers, Live Wallpaper, you can change your lock screen style in order to show the music, show widgets, show photo albums and stuff like that. And you can also customize your home screen with widgets, which is what we did earlier. And since we also spoke about personalize, you can also personalize your ringtone, notification sound, or alarm. So that's all the personalization you can do. Also in the settings area there is a security option with a bunch of sub options like screen lock that can include face unlock, pattern, pin or password, a kid mode that allows you to trigger a parent dashboard powered by Zoodles. Basically you can give your kid access only to certain content, certain apps and certain features. You can also perform a child lock in order to lock or unlock that usage method. There's also notification message preview, music unlock, make passwords visible, and basically all the security features you know from other Android devices. You can also transfer your content if you previously owned an iPhone 3G, 3GS, 4, 4S or 5 or another Android phone or a HTC Android phone. You can transfer that content to this device. And finally, we're going to move on to the application list, which you can arrange with a grid size of either 4:5 as we have here or 3:4. I find this one to leave too much space unused, so that's why I adopted the 4:5 setup. Now one of the most known features on HTC One and HTC One Mini is Blinkfeed, which you can see here. We're going to call it an application or feature, better said, that gathers all your social networking statuses, all your news sources into one big aggregating mechanism. You can go to the settings and select the auto refresh and local content, choosing your country. You can also customize the wallpaper, lock screen style and stuff like that. Then you can search for stuff in your sources, obviously, and those sources include, as you can see here, they include the Twitter account that I have, the Facebook account, Reuters, and from what I know HTC is using 10,000 sources in this app, which is truly impressive. You can also post to Facebook or Twitter instantly, and here you can choose the topics and services. As you can see, Financial Times, The Guardian, Vice, UEFA.com, and a bunch of categories like trending topics and all that. And these are the services and apps linked to this feature called Blinkfeed. So basically an aggregator of articles and updates shown as statuses, sort of like Flipboard but in a more compact version. And if you tap on an item, you can see the tweet, for example. And let's see other highlights from Reuters, for example. And if you tap on the news, you can see a preview of it with the text. You can also share. There is a sharing button here if you want to share it via social media. Okay, of course we also got the weather in typical HTC fashion. However, it has been influenced by the Sense 5.0 experience, and it's minimalistic based on gray and black, just like the other areas of the HTC Sense 5.0. We also got a two-finger swipe to access all the toggles in the notification area that include power saving, sound profile, Wi-Fi hotspot, screenshot, Bluetooth, airplane mode, and a shortcut to settings. The normal drop-down is done with a single finger, while two fingers trigger all the toggles. We also have a three-finger swipe, which I'm going to try to use. This one is used to trigger the media output, so basically if you want to send pictures or videos to your TV set, you do that shortcut I just did, and we're all done. Back to the app area, you can see here that we can organize the app custom way, alphabetical way, or the apps that we used most recently. Back to the custom one, and the app list begins with the calendar. Not much change from the standard stock version. Okay, moving further, we got the people area where I integrated my Twitter account, my Facebook account. We got a lot of contacts. We got groups, and we got favorites, and finally we can go to the dialer and phone area. Speaking of the dialer and the phone area, we got excellent call and excellent signal on this handset. Now back to the app list, we have a media folder where you can find the camera, music, YouTube, play music, tuning radio, FM radio, playbook, SoundHound and Seven Digital. We already analyzed all of them. Then we have the Google folder where you can find Chrome, Gmail, Google+, G+, Photos, Talk, Navigation, Google Setting and News and Weather. You already know all of them. Then comes Maps, obviously. Google Maps present on this phone in the latest updated version. And here we go, with an extra layer of satellite, public transport and some cycling routes for those of you who like to roll on two wheels. Okay, we're done with Google Maps. Let's continue the analysis of the apps. We have a car mode, which pretty much speaks for itself. You can access navigation, the dialer, everything in a bigger format, so you just have to place your handset in a cradle and you can access the main features without having too much trouble. Navigation included. Also with big buttons, so everything is car friendly while behind the wheel. Other features included on this device, and I mean apps here, are stocks, your basic stocks application powered by Yahoo Finance, and then comes the Play Store obviously, and some productivity tools that include Dropbox, Polaris Office for those of you Office freaks. Notes, it's a note-taking app that involves audio recording, it involves picture, it even involves drawing, scribbling, changing colors, erasing, so your basic note-taking app with all the needed features including voice recording and picture taking. Okay, moving even further, we got tasks. You can add a new task, set the date, set a reminder and set a priority. Finally a PDF viewer, then comes tools with the basic calculator, flashlight, weather, setup and parent dashboard, that is yet again that kid mode powered by Zoodles. Okay, settings, kid mode, and that's pretty much it. Okay, by the way, if you double tap home, you can access the multitasking area and you can close app just by swiping up, as you can see. Okay, so that's pretty much everything you need to know about the HTC One Mini. It's time for the big conclusions of the review, and we're going to list the pros and cons for buying or not buying a handset. Okay, so we're dealing with a handset that offers excellent audio thanks to the boom sound speakers. It has comfy earbuds, it has an excellent display. As you heard earlier, it has excellent brightness, even beating the brightness of the Galaxy S4, by the way. And other pluses are the fact that we have a great camera for a non-flagship phone. That must say a lot. We also have a nice format. It's very one-hand friendly, if I can say so, and very hand-friendly. Of course, the HTC One was pretty comfortable and compact in its own way, but this one made things even better. Other things worth mentioning is the fact that we got no lag on this phone. We have some nice photo editing, we have some nice photo features like Zoe, and the bundles apps are not bloatware. On the Galaxy S4 Mini they felt like bloatware, so this time they're not. So the most important parts of the pros are the speakers and their excellent quality, the screen excellent quality, and the ultra-pixel camera that delivers. On the con side, obviously, we got the price. It's pretty big at $580. Also the plastic sides, you may not like them, especially compared to the aluminum sides of the HTC One. By the way, the battery, as I said, it barely reaches a day of usage, which is another negative aspect. And the side volume buttons are pretty hard to press. The screen will tend to reflect the sunlight quite a bit, and the lack of optical stabilization from the camera may bum you out. And finally, the benchmarks are inferior compared to the S4 Mini. Okay, and finally it's time to give it some grades. The HTC One Mini gets from us an 8.5 out of 10 for design, a 9 for hardware. It would have gotten more, but the battery decreased the grade. And finally, operating system and user interface gets a 10 out of 10. We don't have anything to object here. It's a matter of taste. Some people may not like this gray minimalistic interface, some people may. And the final grade is 9.16 out of 10 for the HTC One Mini, that in our book is superior to the Galaxy S4 Mini. The screen and the camera are especially strong aspects to buy this phone, and in order to not buy a Galaxy S4 Mini. So the HTC One Mini is superior to the Galaxy S4 Mini, in case you are wondering what to buy. The speakers are loud, the camera is better, and the screen is better. That's it from gsnknown.com. Bye bye.